Okay, guys, so correct these sentences. We've got the scariest book Marcus ever read was Hatchet by Gary Paulson. So we've got a few things here. We've got our basic stuff that we got to capitalize and in punctuation, but we've also got a title of a book. So you need to think about, and the name of this book, I'm going to tell you, is Hatchet. That is the title of a book. What do we do with titles of books? There is something we have to do with a title of a book. So please make sure that happens when you correct this sentence. We also have the author, who is Gary Paulson. And that's pretty basic. There's nothing complicated about what you should do with somebody's name. But keep in mind the title of the book, okay, which is Hatchet. Now let's look at number 2. Mr. and Mrs. Valdez has traveled to many countries. Guys, there is nothing about this sentence that is too complicated. I know I say that phrase a lot, but there's not. We've got some abbreviations, Mr. and Mrs. If you look at these are abbreviations. They're short for another word. So what do we do with abbreviations? You got to make sure you do the right thing with those. Something very simple we do with all abbreviations, except for states, actually. And we got, their name, of course, but also we've got a verb issue. The verb in this sentence, or the helping verb, I should say, is wrong. So we got to make sure it's right. And remember, the reason why we do this isn't to aggravate or annoy. It's because we got to have rules in place so we can communicate effectively. And that's serious business, guys, because when communication breaks down, everything breaks down. Countries, look at that word, okay? Think about this, what needs to happen there. Some spelling issues there. Okay, fact or fantasy. So fact and opinion, fact or fantasy, however you want to look at it. Fantasy is different than opinion. Fantasy is made up. When animals can talk, when people can fly, all that's fantasy. It's made up. Several planets in our solar system are surrounded by rings. Is that fact or is that something that's made up? You decide. And then look at number 4. Write the 2 words that make up the contraction. Contraction, guys, is the key here. Contractions have apostrophes. I'm circling that now. You can see that. A contraction is when you combine 2 words and you shove them together and put an apostrophe there. Why we ever decided to do this? I don't know. Because we sound so much more intelligent when we don't use contractions. A little trick, a little tidbit. If you don't use contractions, you sound really smart. Try it for a day. See what happens. And then look at number 5. Circle the best word to complete the sentence. Nothing here that should shake you up too much. Just, be aware. Take your time, look at it, and make sure it's the correct one. Honestly, this is when we're dealing with the comparative and superlative form. Those are very fancy words for something very simple. If you want to look those up, go for it. Comparative and superlative. But anyway, you're just choosing the best word. Okay. Have at it.